tonight. Backed by Russian airstrike, the Syrian army and allied forces drive Daesh out of Al-Qaryatain after several days of encircling the town and killing the last remaining groups of Daesh terrorists. Turkey races to construct a readmission center for migrants in the western town of Çeşme across from the Greek island of Chios, and Germany sends assistance to Greece to process asylum applications. And a death simulator at an attraction in Shanghai opens tomorrow, allowing people to experience death, cremation and rebirth over 2 hours in return for 444 yuan. Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. Prime Minister Abdullah Mansour met here in Amman with a visiting U.S. congressional delegation led by Chief of Foreign Relations Committee Ed Royce. Minister of State for Media and Communication Mohammed al-Momeni and U.S. Ambassador to Jordan Alice Wells were also present. The meeting reviewed Jordan's stand on regional developments as well as Jordanian-U.S. ties. Mansour reiterated Jordan's call for a political solution in Syria that preserves the country's unity and integrity and voiced the kingdom's support of the Geneva peace talks. He also reaffirmed the need to resolve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, highlighting His Majesty's effort as custodian of holy shrines in Jerusalem for a comprehensive and just solution that would enhance prospect for peace and stability in the entire region. Israel has extended the distance permitted to Gaza fishermen in the sea along certain parts of the coastline of the enclave. The fishing zone was expanded from 11 to 16 kilometers along Gaza's central and southern shores. Israeli authorities say the step should result in a bigger catch in deep waters where fish is abundant. Chairman of the Gaza Fisherman Union, Nizar Ayyash, called the expansion insufficient, noting that Israel's interim Oslo peace deal with the Palestinian called for a 37-kilometer zone in the Mediterranean. Palestinians have often complained of frequent Israeli interceptions and arrest of fishermen and confiscation of their boats and equipment. Elsewhere in Syria, the Syrian army and allied forces backed by Russian airstrikes drove Daesh out of the town of Al-Qaryatain. The forces have been encircling the town over the past few days, according to the Syrian military command. Al-Qaryatain is 100 kilometers west of the ancient city of Palmyra and had been held by the groups since late August. They demolished a Christian monastery and took around 200 of the town's residents prisoner, transferring some of them to Raqqa, the group's stronghold. Syrian state television said the army and its ally fully restored security and stability to Al-Qaryatain after killing at least the last remaining group of Daesh terrorists in the town. In a statement, the military command said this was a strategic victory which secured oil and gas routes between the Damascus area and oil field in eastern Syria, and also disrupts Daesh supply routes within the country. An airstrike by the U.S.-led coalition in Iraq overnight killed a Daesh terrorist believed responsible for an attack on U.S. troops in the north of the country last month that killed 1 Marine and wounded 8 others. The terrorist, Jassim Khadija, a former Iraqi officer, was killed by a drone strike overnight, according to coalition spokesman U.S. Army Colonel Steve Warren. Warren said information available indicate that the terrorist was a rocket expert and controlled attacks on a base used by U.S. troops near the town of Makhmud. 5 other Daesh members were also killed in the airstrike. In Syria, unofficial reports said the terrorist group killed 15 of its members in the largest execution of security services. The killings were reportedly in connection with the assassination of Daesh leader Abu Hujja al-Tunisi, who died on Wednesday in an airstrike. The killings also followed the arrest of 35 members in Raqqa yesterday. Brussels Airport reopened today with 3 flights and strict additional security checks for passengers 12 days after suicide bombers destroyed its departure hall and killed 16 people in coordinated attacks that also struck a metro station. A total of 32 people were killed in the attack. The partial resumption of services started with 3 symbolic flights to Faro, Athens and Turin. Here's more.
We stand stronger. We are back.
With those words, the head of the Brussels airport, Arno Feist, officially declares it open for business. A Brussels Airlines jet took off Sunday morning, the first passenger plane to leave the airport since suspected Islamic militants carried out suicide attacks 12 days ago, killing 32 people, including the 3 bombers.
I think it's a very emotional moment for all of us, from me personally, of course. We've all worked, day and night, literally day and night, over the last 12 days to make this moment possible.
Workers were all smiles Sunday morning when they greeted passengers checking in for the flight. Not many people showed up, though. Only about 60 to 70 passengers boarded the first flight.
It's complicated for me personally because I was in Brussels at the moment of the attacks.
It was the first of 3 planes scheduled to leave on Sunday, but more flights are expected on Monday. Brussels Airport has warned passengers to arrive 3 hours early due to increased security. Passengers will also need to come by car, since normal train and bus services are not running yet.
Turkey is racing to construct a readmission center for migrants in the western town of Çizme, across from the Greek island of Chios. Turkish authorities are setting up reception centers to process Syrian and other refugees ahead of the implementation of a European Union deal, which is due to take force tomorrow. Under the agreement, migrants who crossed into Greece illegally from Turkey after March 20th will be sent back once their asylum applications have been processed. In exchange, Turkey will receive financial aid, visa-free travel for Turks, and slightly accelerated EU bloc membership talks. To help process asylum applications, Germany sent 7 employees from the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees to Greece, where they will assist the European Asylum Support Office. The European Union plans to send hundreds of police and migration officers to Greece over the weekend to help carry out the first return under a disputed EU deal meant to end the uncontrolled influx of migrants. The UN Refugee Agency and right groups Amnesty International raised objections, and Amnesty accused Turkey of sending thousands of people trying to flee Syria back into the war-torn country in recent months. The European Commission says it is investigating the Amnesty charge and would raise the issue with the Turkish authorities. A fire ripped through a Russian Defense Ministry building in central Moscow, diverting traffic through the city. Around 50 people were reported to have been evacuated from the administrative building, which dates from the end of the 18th century. Defense Ministry officials said the blaze, which covered an area of 50 square meters, may have been sparked by a short circuit within the electricity network, and nobody was hurt. The officials said the flames were put out, but the work went on, extinguished parts of the building that continued to generate smoke. People in Shanghai are now able to experience death, cremation, and also rebirth at an attraction due to open tomorrow. Changlai, or Awaken in English, is a type of attraction where participants are given the opportunity to be killed off by their own peers. It costs 444 yuan per person to play. The number 4 in China is often associated with death. At the end of each session, the participants write down their reflection in a game survey and have the option of writing the last word before death. Here's more.
Ever wonder what it's like to be cremated and then be reborn through a latex womb? A business in Shanghai that's opening on Monday is hoping to give people that experience. Participants discuss a life or death scenario and are then asked to either sacrifice themselves or the life of another and explain why. The person with the worst explanation then dies. Liu Siwei, who took part in the media preview, was voted by the other 11 people in the group to go into the crematory.
It gives you the chance to calm down, give in to some deeper thoughts and think about some of life's problems. I think this feeling is different. When you walk through that door, you will experience changes in your mentality and it will be different from what it was before you entered. I think this is really great and very worthwhile.
The entrepreneurs behind it say they want to help people forget their problems and gain a different perspective of life. A ticket to play in the game costs about $68.
Richard Murray won the new Plymouth round of the ITU World Cup in New Zealand. The South African triathlete finished the 750-meter swim, 20-kilometer bike ride and 5-kilometer run with a time of 53 minutes and 8 seconds. Andreas Chilling of Denmark finished second, just ahead of Rostislav Pevtsov, who took the final place on the podium. Murray, who finished 17th at the London 2012 Olympics, will be looking to finish much higher in Rio this year. The next World Cup event will be in China on April 16th.
He was right in amongst it.
Chas Davis secured both races at Aragon, Spain, as he moved up to second in the World Superbike standings. The Ducati rider took the second race of the weekend, 6.4. And it continues to be relatively warm in most regions for the rest of tonight with light variable winds. Another slight rise in temperatures in the forecast for tomorrow, promising a sunny day with clear skies and a high of 27 degrees Celsius in Amman. Winds will be southwesterly moderate. In the Gulf of Aqaba, warm spring conditions prevail with northerly moderate winds and calm seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. And to end the news, here's a recap of our top stories. Backed by Russian airstrikes, the Syrian army and allied forces drive Daesh out of Al-Qaryatain after several days of encircling the town and killing the last remaining groups of Daesh terrorists. Turkey races to construct a readmission center for migrants in the western town of Çizme across from the Greek island of Chios, and Germany sends assistance to Greece to process asylum applications. And a death simulator at an attraction in Shanghai opens tomorrow, allowing people to experience death, cremation and rebirth over 2 hours in return for 444 yuan. And with this we come to an end. I'm Farah Ajluni. Thank you for watching and have a good night.